West
WeatherScope.
Good evening and welcome to WeatherScope. I'm Sharon Rezalton. We have a lot to cover tonight, including severe weather that hit Florida earlier today, plus a live report from Super Bowl 32 in San Diego. But we begin with the snow and the ice in the Northeast. And with details on that, here's Jeff Morrow in the Forecast Center.
All right, thanks, Sharon. Indeed, we do have a very busy night tonight. Storm in the Northeast, pretty much going along as we thought it would. The moisture from the south overrunning the big dome of cold air in the Northeast. So we have a mixture of snow and then changing to sleet and then freezing rain, then eventually rain as the warmer air comes in from the south. Let's take you first of all on up to New Hampshire. This is Brookline, New Hampshire, where again most of the precipitation today was snow. This is when pretty much right after it first started, it was kind of a hit and miss as far as the snow early, and then it picked up a bit in intensity. But again, much better that we get the snow than any sleet or freezing rain at this point because of the ice storm just about 2 weeks ago. All right, now live in Stowe, Vermont, our skiing weatherman, Jim Cantore. And there he is. Jim, looking pretty good. How's the slopes?
Jeffrey, pretty good. Unfortunately, winds gusting 65, 70 miles an hour here tonight have shut down the gondola. They have nice skiing here at Stowe, and the winds have forced the gondola to shut down tonight because they have been strong. But I'll tell you, I made about 3 runs between live shots between 5:30 and 7:30, and it was just spectacular. A great snow. The wind's not packing it so hard or blowing it off the mountain. It's just sitting there. So some great skiing conditions, and no doubt great news for Vermont as we're still hearing the ramifications, if you will, Jeff, of the ice storm. Great snow, too. Check this out. We got basically a very, very powdery snow, the kind of snow that you can't really make a snowball with very well. But we've had just a little bit of sleet on top of that, and I think that's good news because it's going to hold the snow on the slopes. So some great news tomorrow, obviously, as the folks head out. But a cool night tonight. Not as cold as it was this morning as we started out in Burlington with 4 below. Make sure you drive carefully if you're heading out. Roads are very, very slippery, especially the secondary roads off the interstates. But, Jeff, some great skiing, and I got to tell you, after being a meteorologist and growing up in Vermont, it's nice to come home. Back to you.
Jim, the perfect assignment for you tonight, I must say.
I'll take a few of these if you got them.
Yeah, well, don't catch an edge there. All right. Jim Cantore reporting live from Stowe, Vermont. And joining me now here in the Forecast Center, senior meteorologist Colin Marquis. Some guys get all the luck, you know.
Yeah, why can't we pull assignments like that?
I don't know. Well, let's talk about this storm. And Jim's right, though. Folks that may be heading out maybe to the slopes tomorrow going to have some nasty conditions.
Yeah, and that's true. As much as we are happy for the folks at the ski areas, the roads are going to be a little bit tricky to navigate up there. And basically what we're talking about here is a mixed bag of weather across the Northeast. Still having some heavy rain in the New York City area and just a couple of more hours to go there. But that heavy rain is going to be working off to the Northeast, and Boston has several more hours to go for a wind-driven rain as the winds are actually gusting up around 30, particularly around the coast.
All right, Boston, I think, picked up about 2 inches before it changed over to rain there, but not too far inland, still sleet and freezing rain around Worcester and back toward the Berkshires. The Mass Pike has to be a real mess tonight.
It sure does. It looks like about 10 miles inland from the east coast of Massachusetts is where you hit the freezing rain and sleet, and it looks likely that western and central Mass and eventually up into southern New Hampshire and western Maine, you may actually have to deal with some pretty good accumulations of ice.
Even where Jim was reporting from there here in central parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, or Vermont, he was saying last hour that sleet was starting to mix in there, and I think that may continue.
The general trend is that we will see precipitation, which right up in here is mainly snow, will mix with some sleet, perhaps some freezing rain. It's all snow still along the coast of Maine, but even there they'll mix with some freezing rain, and along the coast will eventually go over to rain. And along the areas in central Mass where we're seeing icing, I think eventually most areas will see plain rain as the warm air eventually does win out, but up across the Northland is where we're going to get the most snow.
Right, and there's the snow forecast, and again, some areas up there through the noon hour Saturday, probably over a foot. And a quick note, again, there are flood watches out here because of the additional rain here in parts of eastern PA, New Jersey, and also into southern New England, so that's something else that folks are going to have to watch out for, is the potential for some flooding. Thanks, Colin. Colin will be back in a half an hour, and we'll be talking to Jim as well. Remember that if you're away from your TV, you can pick up more information on this storm or any weather system at weather.com. Let's go back to Sharon now. She has a look at the rest of the nation's weather and a report from San Diego.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. Heavy rain and severe storms cross portions of Florida today, and that leads our look at the rest of the nation. A confirmed tornado tore through Indigo Mobile Home Park in Grove City, Florida this morning. Charlotte County officials say several people reported seeing the tornado. 20 to 25 other homes were reported damaged. Thankfully, there are no injuries reported. Lots of stormy weather, folks, earlier across the state of Florida. Fortunately, all that dying down, but look at the number of tornadoes confirmed into Florida, especially on into central Florida, and that was throughout the course of the early part of the day today as a line of some stronger storms formed and moved on through. So, good news. Most of that moving on out, still dealing with a few scattered showers across the Sunshine State, and that will be a factor for you for the next several hours, but not seeing the heavy rain event that you had over the past 24 hours. This is an event that is winding down, and some better weather can be expected for your Saturday. Even around Raleigh-Durham, the heaviest precipitation moving up to your north and east, still a few showers developing to your south.